Welcome to a quick video from Wayne Truck and Trailer, your truck experts, and thank you for watching. It's what you call a death wobble. And the reason that's called a death wobble is because when it starts happening, you think you're going to die. This thing's pretty cool. It's 1980s vintage and it's in mint condition. Just love the looks of this old truck. Customer complaint on this truck was that it had a shake and it had a loose kingpin. So our fix for that is first we repair what we know is a problem on the truck. Which, with the loose kingpin, that's the first place to start. Tear it down and we find out that this truck, the axle has been bored where the kingpin goes through. It's been bored oversized. In fact, it's bored big enough that where the axle goes around the kingpin, it's starting to spread. It's not too far from that kingpin getting ready to just split out the end of that axle and losing a wheel. Unfortunately, this is an old enough truck that the axle that was under this truck was discontinued. And according to Peterbilt, there is no axle made that is a replacement for this axle. So a little bit of investigation. Well, we came up with an axle that was able to be used as a replacement for this axle. It took some modification of the mounting of the axle, and it took some modifications of how the drag link was put together. So a little bit of work with some ingenuity and parts and fabrication, and another axle underneath of it. So we test drive it and it drives nice and smooth. We can run this truck at any speed, highway speeds or local speeds, run smooth down the road, no problems. So we send it back to the customer and the customer drives it for a few days and he's got the same report for the first couple of days. This thing drives like a dream. It's nice and smooth in the front end. It's better than it's ever drove before. However, the third day of driving it, he starts to get his shake back again. And it's not just any shake. This is a shake that's triggered when you hit some potholes at the right speed on the road. It's something called a death wobble. And the reason that's called a death wobble is because when it starts happening, you think you're going to die. Now, I'll get you some video here of what a death wobble looks like. So first off, what we do is we took a camera and we mounted it back here behind the passenger tire. And I'll show you what that looks like. Now, it took us several miles of driving around in order to get that footage, and so what we're going to do here is we're going to slow it down and let you see what it looks like in slow motion. Okay, the next thing we did was we took a camera and we mounted it back here behind the front bumper, pointed towards the driver's side tire, so we could get a good look at what that wheel end is doing and what that suspension is doing on this truck. Check it out. So you can see a better view of this. What we're going to do now is we're going to take that video and we're going to slow it down. And that way you can see a little better, and as you look at it this time, as we go through it, you're going to see that airbag articulate back and forth on the axle a little bit. You can actually see the axle being twisted just a little bit. And if you look real close, you can see a little bit of movement on that front spring. Okay, so you got to see that axle twisting. You got to see a little bit of movement on the front spring, but that's pretty hard to see yet. So we're going to slow it down just a little bit more. And now that we slow it down a little bit more, just notice you can see even more exaggerated how much that airbag is dancing back and forth on top of that axle. And that spring is twisting as you go back and forth, and you're going to see that spring pin bushing. You see that spring is just sliding back and forth on that bushing. It's got a lot of extra play. Now we just put a new bushing in that, and it didn't trigger as easy, but it still needs shocks. So we've got shocks on the way. We're going to put shocks on it, and then this truck should be ready to get back on the road and get back to work. Thanks for watching, and remember, at Wayne Truck and Trailer, we provide solutions for the road ahead.